Welcome to the Art of Likability, where you learn the secrets to becoming more likable in all areas of your life. Increasing your likability improves your relationships, and improved relationships increases your success in all areas of your life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, y'all? Arel Moody here, host of The Art of Likability, where we teach you how to increase the likability in all areas of your life, professional, personal, so that you can have deeper relationships, have people more excited about being around you and being more successful. And if you don't want to be successful, you are listening to the wrong podcast. I'm so excited. We got we have our very first long format interview. This is the first time I'm doing that. Typically, as you know, if you've been listening, we do a lot of quick, short, to the point interviews and podcasts. And I wanted to do something special, which I think could be a lot of fun, and we can get a lot of great insight from some really smart people. I'm really blessed and lucky to have friends that are extremely smarter than I am in most areas of general existence. And I always look to glean insights from them when I have conversations. And there's one friend of mine who I was lucky enough to go to college with. And in college, he's always been a hustler. He had a hot dog stand when we were in college where he would just roll out some delicious Franks after the club shut down and people would get their Franks on. And then he had a hookah bar when we were in school. And his current projects are really impressive. What he did is in Park Slope in Brooklyn, he opened up his first restaurant called the Brooklyn Crepe and Juice. And they serve amazing, delicious crepes, savory crepes, sweet crepes. If you don't know what a crepe is, trust me, you are missing out on something really, really delicious and fantastic. If you're ever in Brooklyn, you got to come. He has the best crepes in town. But he also has really cool fresh juices and smoothies. And my favorite smoothie at his place is something called the Spicy Sea Train. It's like mangoes and oranges, but it's got like a little cayenne and ginger in it. It's a really nice kick. But what I love about it is that he opened this one spot and it had a great just amazing feel to the culture. You could tell that all of the employees loved working there. People were passionate about it. Whenever I had a question, I would come in, I would not tell them that I knew the owner. And, I was always treated with just amazing customer service and I was blown away by it. And Evan was able to open up a second location. And then, he's doing the juice and crepe thing and he's doing a great job with it. And you would think as an entrepreneur, he would just want to open up a third or a fourth location. But instead, he opened up a new venture called Wangs. That's with an A, Wangs, which is Asian-inspired home-style Southern cooking. So you take that good old soul food and you put a little Asian flavor on it. And it's doing fantastic. And that's in Brooklyn as well. So my goal with you is to delve into the mind of someone who has amazing insights into the leadership and the managing of people. If you're someone who ever has to deal with managing a project, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your division, maybe it's a nonprofit initiative or a religious group that you work with, you need to organize people and get them to be excited about a project. This is going to be a great interview for you to get that insight and figure out the lessons of the philosophy, the lessons of the strategies that you can start using immediately to grow and be successful with what you do. So with no further ado, please help me welcome. He feels the energy, everyone. Please help me welcome Evan Franca to the show. Evan, what's going on, player?
Wow, what an energetic introduction. I'm really happy to be here and honored to be your first interviewee. And I'm happy to just be on your podcast. Really excited and congratulations, by the way, on the success of your podcast. I think it's an incredible subject, and I'm sure it's going to help out tons and tons of people. I think likability is it's an incredible subject, and I'm happy to talk about it with you today.
Very cool. I'm excited, and as if you've been paying we thank you, Evan. We hit the top of the charts in the career section, top of the charts in the business section. We've hit new and noteworthy in 3 different categories, and one of the top overall podcasts in all of iTunes, which is really exciting. And I think it just goes to show how powerful this information is. And today we have a big treat. So I think what I want to do first is understand the Evan story. I think a lot of people are sitting here and they're like, yo, this is a golden boy. Like he just like starts businesses and is amazing at it. And, you know, I'd love for people to know a little bit more about who is Evan? How did you get into entrepreneurship? What made you start the businesses you start? Just kind of give us take us back to the pre-hot dog Evan, and then take us from the hot dog Evan till today.
Wow. Well, I think I've always been interested in business as a young child. I feel like actually it kind of started when like I would ask for money on a Saturday night, and my dad wouldn't give me enough to go to the movies. And I said, you know what, I've got to figure out a way to get enough money to go to the movies with my friends. And I started a snow shoveling business. Was actually my first.
How old were you when you did that?
I was probably about 7 or 8 years old at the time. I was very young. Whenever it would snow, I would say, hey, I would go with my friend, Rob, and we'd just go around and shovel walks. And it was really cool. I would be able to earn some money, as a young kid, and be able to hang out with my friends. And it gave me that freedom. So I really,
and where'd you grow
enjoyed
up?
That. In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, okay. So when it snows, people aren't ready for the snow. You come by with a little...
Yeah, and I'm a little kid at that point. Yeah. So they're like, I'll give the kid $20, It's like,
sure. Right.
Yeah, even if they could do it themselves, they let me do it. So that was pretty cool. After that, I got into cars. I was really into cars in high school. I got my driver's license, and I started buying and selling cars at auctions, which was another thing that I enjoyed.
So you're doing that in high school?
Yeah, that was like in high school. So
let's take a second to first understand. To me, as a high school student, that would seem overwhelming, right? Like I made like $4.50 per hour working at McDonald's. Like that was the average high school student. To think of buying and selling cars, what made you say this is something I could actually do and I can do it right now?
Well, I worked in a restaurant, and I was a server at a restaurant, and it was actually one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was one of the few jobs I've had. And I've had a few jobs, but it just taught me that I didn't want to work for anybody. It was actually not a great place to work. The staff wasn't very likable. The bosses and managers weren't very likable, and the pay wasn't great. But it was just. I needed to find something else. It wasn't for me, that type of environment.
Would you say, now looking back, having that bad experience in food service industry, did that, and we'll get to this hopefully later, but do you feel like that affected how you created the culture by taking what was the bad model and doing the opposite of it? Did that come into play?
Absolutely.
For you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when you experience something from an employee's perspective, when you get a chance to do it yourself, you're looking at ways to improve what you've been through and the experiences that you've had working for other people. So I think it is really important to to take what you learn from being an employee, if you ever do want to be an entrepreneur, and work in that field and say, I actually like the way they did this, I don't like the way they did this, and be able to formulate your business based on that.
And I think that's a very important idea that I think people miss. I think when people ask for golden moments, it's harder to think of when everything went right. But if you ask someone, hey, when did something go really bad? It's very easy to recall it. So what you did was you took an experience where I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like it. So if I ever were to do it, I would make sure I don't do these things. So it's taking a negative and making it positive.
Right.
Okay. So we go back. We're in high school.
Okay. We're in high school.
We're working at this place. We're serving. We're hating it. We don't want to do it. Take me into the car buying stuff.
It's actually, I don't even truly remember how I even found out about it. I think it was just luck somehow.
Yeah.
And there was just these police auctions that I just found out about, and I would go there and they would auction off cars, and I'd buy cars and basically resell them. It wasn't
well, who were you selling them to? Who would would you put them on Craigslist?
Craigslist. Okay. Actually, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Craigslist. So if was it Daniel Craig? Is it who's
Craig Newmark?
Craig Newmark.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So Craig Newmark is listening to this. You're the reason that I'm a success, and I thank you, and I owe all of my success to you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to, and I know you've literally like bought supplies and business partners through
Yeah.
Craigslist. So
Yeah.
we'll save Craigslist for later. I think that's a
Okay.
very interesting part of your story. But you would basically buy the cars at the auctions, list them on Craigslist,
Yeah.
and then sell them. Did anyone ever find it weird that you were a teenager selling them a car?
I think so. People kind of like, what are you doing? Is this like a business? Is this like a thing? And yeah, I mean, I told people the truth. I was honest. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to make some money. Trying to,
Do you think that helps
work my way through school. I think it did help me. I think a lot of times people see things that they think could be harmful, and it actually, if you just flip it, it can actually be helpful.
So instead of being scared, like here's an insecurity I have, you totally owned it. You're like, I am young. I'm trying to pay through school. People are like, here's an extra $500.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to negotiate that hard.
I'm not negotiating.
He's just trying to get through school.
Yeah.
So
okay. So you do that in high school.
Yeah.
And was that your only business in high school?
Yes, that was my only business in high school.
Okay.
After that, I did sales for a bit. I worked for another company, Vector, did Cutco, selling knives.
Knives, yes.
Yeah.
I think all of us at one point have either worked for or has a friend
who's
that has worked for
they're great
Cutco.
knives, but I mean, I worked there for a couple of years. I sold a good amount of knives. Was one of the top reps in the office, and then I became a manager. And that was actually one of the few times I actually learned how to manage people through my manager at Cutco. He was a great manager, and he taught me a lot of leadership skills that I still still use to this day.
And I actually have a friend that still does a lot with Vector now, and he's like he's done very, very well with it, and he very much talks very highly of just the people development system of it. So that people development system from your sales job, you use that stuff today.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, recruiting and team building and all those things.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing some of those strategies. So you go to college.
Yeah.
After you sell for a little bit, and you say, "Hey, I want to get my education."
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Brooklyn College for a semester. Still, we're selling a bit and managing with Vector, and then I got accepted to Binghamton. Really wanted to get out of state. Not out of state, in state, but out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
To get away.
Sure.
For college, so I went up to Binghamton. Actually had a really tough first semester. Didn't have a great roommate. Just didn't get into the play. I was a theater major, actually.
So your major in college was theater.
Yeah.
You're thespian by desire.
That's right. That's right.
Very cool.
I'd gotten into acting late in high school. Also, I was doing acting. I was doing sports. I was doing business. I was doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I was really interested in acting, and I wanted to pursue that. And went to Binghamton. Didn't get into any shows my first semester, which was kind of a bummer. Just kind of like my first semester was like a little bit of a tough patch for me. And then I decided to start this business one day, just based on the fact that I love food. It's something that I've grown up with, and it's been I've been really blessed to have parents who've cooked and who appreciate food, and a family from my grandparents and my family who really value food. So that's kind of been instilled in me since I was younger. I always had fruits and vegetables growing in the backyard and things like that. So that's been really always important to me. I said, you know what, there's nowhere to get a good hot dog around here late at night. There's actually nowhere to get a good anything.
I mean, I remember in college it was one pizza place.
That's right.
In the downtown area where the bars were, and that was it. I mean, everything else shut down. It was Denny's and pizza,
which was a drive away,
which was far.
So I said, there's got to be another option for people. New York has all these hot dog carts. Why can't there be a hot dog cart in Binghamton? And I found a way to work, a deal with you originally weren't supposed to actually have a hot dog cart on the street because it was like a city ordinance, but I found private property that I was able to lease out from the hotel there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I kind of found a loophole. Sometimes you got to find loopholes.
And so when you approached the hotel, you said, I want to sell hot dogs. I need to do it.
And originally they were like, no way.
Yeah.
We're not having you do that. And I was persistent. I actually went back to them and I was like, listen, what are you concerned about? And they said, well, we're concerned about the littering. We're concerned about it ruining the grass. So, and I left them a security deposit. I said, listen, I will clean up all the garbage at the end of the night, including the garbage that's not even mine. I'll clean up the beer cans or the chips or whatever that's not even mine. So it's like, okay, they were getting free cleaning service. They couldn't pass it up.
There's an important lesson in that, by the way, which I think is overlooked by a lot of people. They get a no,
Right.
and what you did is all you wanted to do was understand the no.
Yeah.
Right? Because most people hear no and then they stop.
Right.
And they think, well, it's not likable. Like, I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to go back and bother them.
Right.
But what you did was you said, I really want to understand what is the problem. So maybe, and if it was insurmountable, it's insurmountable. But
yeah. If they're like, listen,
as long as you know,
our insurance can't cover this, you can't do it, it's impossible.
Right.
Okay, it's impossible. I understand why it's impossible. But why don't you want this? And they gave me the reasons, and I was able to give them reasons why those reasons weren't good reasons.
So, and what I love about it too is that you made sure you went above and beyond what would be acceptable. You said, I'm not just going to make sure I'm good. I'm going to make sure you in total are good. So you're getting free cleaning service. It makes them, there's no reason they can't say yes.
Right.
But you have to understand what their problems are before.
Exactly. You have to understand always what the other side sees. You can't just think of it from your perspective. Hey, I want this, I want that, I want that. Well, the other side also wants things, and they have to protect themselves. And you need to provide them that security that they're going to be protected against those things, and that they're going to get what they want too.
Which is a very valuable mindset lesson for likability, is that it's not just about what you want. You wanted the hot dog stand, but you need to know what are their concerns. Right. So by putting yourself in their shoes, it's actually making them like you more because it's showing you care.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you go to Craigslist for the hot dog stand?
Yeah. But actually I got that one on eBay.
You got that on eBay?
That's eBay. Yeah, I'll give eBay the credit for that.
So you get them to give you the spot. You go on eBay. You get yourself a little hot dog stand.
Got set up for about $1,000. Not a terrible amount of money to start a business. Got inspected by the health department, and had a garage to park it in, which I was lucky at the time. And I guess it's all history from there. We did that for about 2 years. It did well. It did so well, in fact, that the pizza place got jealous and took it away from me. They actually bid behind my back a higher price
to sell hot dogs.
And they took my space away from me.
So they went to the hotel.
They did go to the hotel.
And they said, "Listen, what is he paying you? We'll pay you more."
Yeah, we'll double it, whatever he's paying
me
behind my back. And then I was like, "What's going on?" So that was kind of.
So they sold hot dogs.
Yeah, they totally did. They totally stole my business, and it was a tough lesson for me.
I didn't know that.
In that, it was just like it totally blindsided me. But I ended up actually I got them back because actually I found out that it was city property. I had a city council friend who liked me. And I said, can we actually research this property? And we looked into it. And it was a city property that they were illegally renting out.
No kidding.
And they were able, and they kicked them out. So there was nobody selling hot dogs. I was like, if I can't do it, you can't do it either. So I was able to get my revenge because somebody liked me.
Because someone of power, like, that's very cool.
And then I started the bar,
the hookah bar
with my friend Rob. So I moved on to bigger and better things anyway. Which was definitely an amazing experience for me, opening up a brick and mortar store.
That was your first brick and mortar store?
Yeah, that was like the first signing a lease and, renovating a space. And
what made you want to take the jump to a brick and mortar?
Well, it's a lot of work to set up the cart every night, and you have to kind of do it yourself. You can't really hire someone else to do that.
Yeah.
But with the brick and mortar, and obviously it rains, you can't do business. There's a lot of negatives. It's freezing out. I mean, it's Binghamton. I don't know if the listeners know.
Upstate New York, it's cold in the winter.
It gets really cold outside. So
very cold.
I wanted to be inside where it was warmer. The bar business was something that interested me. I didn't get a chance to go out a lot in college because I was selling hot dogs for a couple of years, and I saw all my friends going out and having fun, and I wanted to be more a part of that hospitality industry. I was interested in food. It was an avenue to put together a menu for some food things. I put together a small little finger food menu. We had hookahs, which was something that I was also interested in college. I was I was smoking hookah with friends. in New York City when I went home on breaks. I was like, why isn't there a place like this in New York? So I got inspiration from that again. So there was a lot of different factors in why I opened up a place.
And now, how long did you do the hookah bar for?
We did that for a couple of years, about 2 to 3 years. It got to a successful point, and we were doing really well. It's still open to this day. My partner Rob.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yes.
It's
Cafe
still...
Oasis it's going to be, I think, should be 7 years.
So are you still involved in it, or
no,
your
not
partner
anymore.
is?
Yeah, I sold my shares and
Wow.
used that money to move back to the city and open up a business here in Brooklyn.
All right, so let's jump into that. So you do the hookah bar, and this is what I'm excited about, because the culture of your employees, your first location, it's got this really, it's a small space, but it so much comes from that space. So you sell your shares of the hookah bar.
Yeah.
You move down in New York City, and you say to yourself, how do we get into smoothies and crepes?
It was just another thing on Craigslist. I was looking up business opportunities, and somebody was selling a juice bar.
You were looking, so okay, this is good. On Craigslist, the business opportunities.
Yeah, there's a section where people are selling their businesses.
Okay. And there was a person selling the location, or
selling their juice and smoothie business. And being in the bar business for a while, it's not the healthiest lifestyle, I have to say.
Yeah.
When you're smoking and drinking.
Sure. Sure.
It was great while I was in college. Late hours, you're up till 4 a.m., 5 a.m. working. So I kind of wanted a little change of pace. And I was getting into a healthier eating patterns, and I was getting to healthier sleeping patterns, and I wanted to do something that was just healthier. And I happened upon this juice bar, met with the guy, really liked his business. He'd been open for 15 years, so he had a really long track record and a lot of repeat customers and loyal customer base built into the business. And I thought that I could add to that existing business some food items and improve the juices and smoothies that he currently had.
So one of the patterns I'm noticing about you is that every business that you started was something you liked. It was of interest to you. It wasn't just, I can make a bunch of money. It was, well, I'm in the food. There's this missing. There's a problem. I want to solve it.
Absolutely.
And it's something I personally care about.
Yeah, I think those two things are really important, because you can really like something, but if there's not a demand for it, it's going to be difficult to have a business in that. However, if it's just that there's a demand and you don't like it, you're not going to enjoy what you do, and you're not going to be happy in what you're doing. And when you're not happy in what you're doing, you're not going to be likable, and it's going to be much harder to be successful when you're not happy at what you're doing.
Right. That makes so much
believe
sense.
in your product or what you're doing.
All right, so now let's get into the fun part. Okay, you've got this location. You think you can breathe new life into it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you immediately think you could do different that was not being done already?
That's a great question. I mean, there was no food at all in the place. It was only juices and smoothies. And there was only a few juices. It was mostly just a smoothie business. So I saw a lot of potential in that there can be food items, there can be an expanded juice menu, and it's already health conscious. So I thought about salads, and I had been traveling a lot, which also gives me inspiration as well. It's one of the things that I love to do. And I had gone to France the previous summer, and everywhere you go in France, there is a crepe stand. Yeah. If you just walk around downtown Paris, there's people selling crepes left and right. And the way that they're selling hot dogs in New York City. So I said, why isn't there a place in Brooklyn selling crepes? And there wasn't at the time. So I thought that it would be a great opportunity to bring something different and new with the existing product that already had customers built into it.
Got it. So you say, again, taking personal experience, something you enjoyed, and said, let me go ahead and integrate that, which is pretty seamless integration, add smoothies.
And it's an easy product to tell you. I mean, it's not something that requires,
cooking skills.
Cooking. I mean, I didn't go to culinary school. It's pretty simple. I actually learned it on YouTube, how to make crepes. And I kid you not, it was...
So the crepe making process, came from YouTube.
Totally.
All right.
I learned
All right.
the recipes on YouTube, and I developed my own recipe over some time, which is a secret. But it's all started to just watching people do it on YouTube, and so I can do that.
All right, so we now are at the juncture where you have the location, you have the business, you wanted to add a little flavor of uniqueness with the crepe, which I don't think there's any other crepe places in Park Slope, is there?
There's actually a one that opened up, and there's been
After or before you?
after me.
After.
And
So when you started it,
probably
you were
6 to 8 places that have opened after me in Brooklyn.
no
that have done
kidding.
crepes. Yeah.
All right. Well, people
When
see,
you're successful,
Yeah.
people are going to try to copy what you're doing.
But at the
It's just
moment
gonna
when you
happen.
started, you were the only crepe business, and it did well. And assuming it inspired others to say, well, it's.
Yeah. I mean, and
You
the
know?
first year was difficult. I won't lie. It wasn't immediate success.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hard work and countless 16-hour days every day
Yeah.
without making anything really at all. So I was very I was determined and fortunate.
So let's go into your philosophy of you. Year one is tough, 16-hour days.
Absolutely.
Were you the only person working in year one?
For the
Did you
first
have
few
employees?
months, for the first about 4 to 5 months, I was the only person working there.
Open
So
it up, shut
I was
it down.
open up, shut down, clean up everything, make everything, greet every customer, serve every customer, everything
So
from A to
how
Z.
do you get to the point where it's like, all right, I'm ready for it to be greater than myself.
Yeah.
So we're going into the team building phase.
Mhm.
What's your philosophy going into the team building phase with who are you going to hire? How do
Right.
you find this person? You
Right.
know, give me some insight into how you decided how that process would work for you.
Well, the most important thing for me is that I like the person, and I'm not just saying that because this is a likability podcast.
Yeah.
It's something that if I'm going to spend a lot of time with somebody, I'm going to want to like that person.
Right.
It's like dating or like picking a friend or anything. You don't want to spend time working with someone that you don't like, even if they have the skills that are needed for the job. They really need to be someone that you get along with first and foremost.
So in the interview process, is it a fair assumption to say you're primarily looking for vibe? Like, did I enjoy that person, or did you look for skill set first, then do you like them second?
Well, I'll tell you that I made the mistake of looking for skill set first. And the first person that I hired was someone who's a very talented chef. They were, it just had years of experience in culinary arts and had run restaurants. And I was really impressed by the resume, and they even cooked me a meal, and it was fantastic. And I was like, wow, this person is awesome. They're going to be like my manager, possible business partner in the future. I was like, this person is amazing. And after a couple of weeks, I just realized that we weren't clicking personally. Go ahead.
Did you feel like you knew that was going to happen beforehand? Did you have any signals, or did that only come after the fact?
It kind of came after the fact. It was something that I felt, this person, they're really, but I think I was blindsided by, I looked just at the skills, and I looked at, that they're technically able to do the job, and they were excited about the job.
Yeah.
But I didn't really look at how we worked personally. So I think, he had a lot of different ideas, and it got to a point where, it just wasn't working out. And
when do you know? This is a very important question for anyone who's working with a team. When do you, because there's a point in which you need to reinvest in your team.
Sure.
There's a point in which you need to refocus the team.
Absolutely.
And there's a point when you need to start over.
Yeah. No,
how do you get to that point in decision making?
I think when there's healthy debates about issues, that's good. And you're not always going to agree with people that you're working with. That's fine. When it gets to a point where it's disrespectful, I think that's a problem. And that's where I've always cut off employees, and I've let people go, or stopped working with them as soon as it gets to a point where I feel as though they're not respecting me and they're not respecting our relationship. I feel like that's a point where I need to rebuild. Otherwise, I can get through. We can work through debates. We can talk about different ideas, and go back and forth as long as it stays in a respectful manner.
So one of the lines that you drew in the sand was, "You can disagree with me,
Right.
and that's totally acceptable.
Absolutely.
As long as there's a respect of how you approach it. As soon as it becomes disrespectful,
If someone comes to me and says,
deal
"Listen,
breaker."
I have this idea. I see the way you're doing things here, and I think this would be an improvement upon the way that we're doing things." I'm all open for that. In fact, you can't grow unless you welcome that kind of change,
Mhm.
and unless you listen to people that are on your team, because you're only one person, and you have many people who have worked at many different places and have a great wealth of experience that they can share with you. And I've taken so many different things and suggestions from my employees that have really positively impacted the business.
Mhm.
But if they're not respectful in it, it's really difficult to work with them, no matter how talented they are.
So did you get rid of this person before you hired someone new or after you hired someone new?
I think I got rid of them right away. Yeah, I went back to working by myself for a little bit, and then I got really lucky and just hired somebody who was just a fantastic human being. I wanted a complete change of pace.
Mhm.
This person didn't have any food experience at all, and I got really lucky because they picked up really quickly.
Mhm. How'd you find the person?
On Craigslist. They started out, mopping the floors and
Yeah.
kind of just cleaning up at the end of the day, and was, to this day, is probably that person, Alex, who's still with me about 5 years later, is one of the most inspirational people that I've ever worked with, and one of the best persons, the most likable people that I've ever encountered in my life.
And do you feel that there was anything that you were able to do to bring that out of Alex, or was Alex just
I got
a
lucky
rare
with
breed?
Alex.
He's
I
a
think
rare
Alex
breed.
is a rare breed.
Okay.
That first really good guy that I got super lucky with him, and I didn't have to really coach him at all. He just loved talking to people. He loved helping people. He loved people, and he loved that interaction, and I learned a lot from him, actually.
So having that kind of archetype person of, wow, this is how you should be interacting with people.
Right.
You're going to move on to the next person. You got to start hiring more people.
Like
you have
that, yeah.
how many employees are you at now?
Total, with the 3 businesses, we're at about 25 now.
About 25. So you go from 1 and it's time to get 2, 3. How many did you add after the first, after Alex?
We built slowly, we added one more, and then eventually another one, and it was a very slow building process.
So your philosophy is it's better to get someone good and slow than to just get a bunch of people. That was
Absolutely.
your personal. Okay.
Yeah, especially when you're starting out, yeah.
So walk me through it. You're picking someone up. You're about to hire them. You're trying to decide if they're a good fit for your business. You've had some bad examples. You've had some good examples. What are you looking for when you're interviewing these people? What are you hoping that will jump out at you to make you feel like this is someone I like, I'm going to get along with them, let's give them a shot?
Well, it's really about the questions that you ask, and I think it's important to listen to their answers and really listen. And a lot of the questions that I ask, I ask people, describe a memorable meal that you prepared, and I see what people's connection to food is. I ask people what are challenges that they've overcome in their previous positions, and see if they're able to overcome things that are difficult. It's important to see how they answer questions like that, to see what their character is and what type of person they are. That you do get a certain feel from someone, and I have to say I can generally tell within 10 to 15 seconds. Even before I start with my first question, I just introduce myself, the way that they smile. I introduce myself, I introduce the company.
So even before the interview starts, they're on trial.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. From the second they walk in the door. I mean, first of all, I ask several questions before they come in
What's
online.
an example?
Those are a couple of questions that I ask.
Okay.
I ask them sometimes even just like, what's what's your favorite musical group, or what's a personal goal that you have. Sometimes I'll ask questions that don't have to do with work.
And what are you looking for?
I'm looking for in-depth answers. I'm not looking for one-word answers. I'm looking for people that, first of all, half the people don't even answer those questions.
Okay.
So that I weed those people. I don't answer those people back immediately, because you will get 40, 50 responses sometimes from an ad, and I have to narrow that down to maybe 12 that I invite in, maybe 8 that maybe 7 show up, that maybe I hire 2 to 3, and that maybe I get 1 to 2 good people out of those 50. So it's really a funneling of people, and just at every step trying to figure out which traits, and by asking certain questions, figuring out, is this the right person for my organization?
Got it. So now you have a very cool. I think I asked a friend of mine what word he would use to describe your business, and he said like bohemian or cool, or I don't know if hipster is the right word, but there's cool music. Yeah. There's a local community board for anyone who's doing something in the community.
Yeah, we put up local art. We
Tell me about your mindset behind the ambiance and the culture of when I'm walking into the Brooklyn Crepe and Juice, what do you want them to experience, and why did you choose that experience?
Well, I think the first thing you want people to experience as they walk in the door is just comfort and warmth. I think if people are comfortable and they feel that somebody's going to greet them in a way that's warm, and then they feel like they're at home, and they feel like it's like when you go into a friend's house, or you go into a bar where everyone knows you. Cheers.
Yeah, right.
It's that type of sentiment that you want when you go into a business. And I think I'll give a quick example that I always give to my employees. There used to be a block that I used to go out and go out to bars, and there was 3 falafel places on that one street, and there was one falafel place that had the cheapest falafel, there was one falafel place that had the best falafel, and there was another falafel place that had the best service. And I, of course, went to the one with the best service because it made me feel good. I could have gotten it cheaper. I could have gotten one that was slightly better. And that's not saying that product isn't important, and that you can have a crappy product and still do well. You need to do both. But I think just the way that I felt, and that they knew me and they recognized me, and hey, how's your day going? That emotional connection I had, and the fact that I just liked the people that worked there was the reason that I wanted to give them business.
Did you feel like if that person saw you getting a falafel from another place, like you would feel? Yeah,
totally.
You'd be like, okay, I can't show my face. He's watching.
Absolutely.
But that emotional connection to the establishment is not possible unless there's that interaction.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of places that are very transactional. You come in, you get your thing,
sure,
you leave. But you are it's
product based.
It's product based. Which
is fine.
I can't have another falafel in my hand and go by the stand because you're connected to the people there.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I think service stays with people more than product. And again, that's not saying that product is important, because I think when you put care into your business, you have to put care into your product too. You have to use good ingredients, and you have to use fresh things, and try to use sustainable packaging and things like that. Those are all things that I believe in, that I think are important, but not as important as the service and being likable.
How do you get them to buy into that though? So you hire the person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like overtly say, I need you to do this when someone comes in? Like, do they have a set script? Do they have a set?
I don't make anybody. And I know you mentioned before, like, I never say to anybody, be like Alex, because I think that's not genuine.
Yeah.
And to tell someone, I think to do as exactly as I'm doing, or you should be just like Arel. I think that's wrong.
Right.
Because everyone is different, and everyone can be genuine in their own way, and can be friendly and likable in their own way. I think there's likable things about every human being. So if you're able to just communicate that to people in a genuine way, you don't have to be, the funniest guy. You don't have to be, you know, the the one with the best stories or anything like that. You just be yourself, but care about other people. And when you care about other people, you're gonna get that back.
Does this happen in a sit down conversation? Like, so if I'm an employee, so let's take it through this approach, okay?
Okay.
I have just been hired to work at the Brooklyn Juice and Crepe. You like me, and I told you about my band, and you like my band choices and all that good stuff, and I had some amazing food options, and you decide to hire me. You sit me down. What happens? I'm hired. You sit me down. What
I
happens?
go through about an hour orientation, let's say, with every new hire.
Yeah.
And I go over all the policies, and I go over our culture. I go over, what are the things that I think they need to be doing, so they understand the job.
So you're very upfront.
Very upfront about everything. This is how much you're gonna get paid. This is when you're gonna get paid. You go through everything very, very specifically, so that there's no miscommunication. Communication is the most important thing, you let them know the culture that's there, and I repeat it over and over again that this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. And they're all hired on it's all on a trial basis. They can, I can let them go. They have like a 5-day kind of trial period where I try them out.
Okay.
I hire them, but they're not really officially part of the team until they finish their 5 days.
You don't have this job.
Right. It's not yours until you've completed these 5 days, and I generally let my staff decide whether they're going to stay or not. So if my staff says, you know what, this person wasn't really pulling their weight, they weren't really getting along well with the team, they weren't interacting as good with the customers, I listen to my staff and I say, you know what, that's not the right person for us. And even if I think I like them, but my staff isn't working well with them, I trust my staff. And I think that's really important, to empower your staff to feel like they have, and to let them make decisions, and they're going to be working with them as well. So, and when I do have a bad apple, which is rare because I'm very careful about who I do hire, but it happens. Some people come off in the interview as, whoa, this person's a rock star. And then they start their first day and it's like, what happened? Right. They represented themselves as this person and then they're not. So, we let those people go and we let them.
All right, let's talk about that. I think this is something that anyone of a managerial position or supervisor position who's ever had to let someone go, that's a difficult process.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Now, let's talk about the philosophy behind it. So you've got someone not giving it their all, or maybe an employee says, hey, Evan, so-and-so did this and I didn't appreciate it, whatever. You get your first bad vibe or your first bad report. What's your approach?
Well, it depends on how bad.
Okay.
And it depends on the situation. If it's something that I think that can be corrected, then we sit down and we talk and we say, hey, what's going on with this? Why did this happen? And I try to hear their side of things. If it's something really bad, I let them go right away. If it's like something
stealing,
anything like that, or they cursed out somebody, or they're talking about.
But let's talk about and I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to. The person who does just enough to not get fired, right?
Yeah.
They've never cursed someone out. They've never stole anything.
Right.
But they're just not they're not A players. They're C- C players.
Well, I think,
how do you handle that?
I think you wanna lift them up. I mean, they may never be an A player, and the fact is, you can't have a team full of A players because you don't want a team full of leaders either. That's not necessarily a good thing too. But you do want everyone to work really well as a team, which I think is really important. So if you can elevate those C players to be B players, you can't have a team full of Michael Jordans. Right. Someone's going to be your leader and going to be your clear A+ player, and you take care of them and make sure that that they're happy. But you also need that supporting cast. You need those people, right, who are trying. Really, what it boils down to is care. If they care, they don't have to be the strongest, person on the team or have the most skill level, you know, they need to give a level of care, because we're dealing with food. You know, we're dealing with hospitality. It's the image of the business. You know, if they don't handle the food correctly, someone can get sick. They need to care. They need to care on some level. And if they can't do that, again, then they don't belong in my organization.
Right.
But if they show me that they're at least caring and trying to improve, then there's a place for them. You know, again, you can't have everyone be all-stars.
So you want to make sure when you're seeing someone, one of the things that stands out to you the most is you feel that this person cares about what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's not fake.
That they have some pride
Okay.
in what they do.
So then give me an example of, you got a C player on your team. Try to think of, you know, no names, of course, but try to think of a C player that you were able to elevate to a B. What was that process like? Tell me about as specific as you can. Even if it's, you think, well, it was very, very specific and it only worked for this person.
Right.
I think it would be really interesting to know, what does one do to get a C player to like the job enough, to like the idea enough, to elevate themselves, even if they're never an A player.
Right.
But now they B minus. So we're, you know, we increase the GPA. Could you think of something to share?
I think there's different strategies, and it really depends on, I think you need to tailor your approach depending on the person, right? And some people, different people are motivated by different things. So I think some people are motivated by money, and it's like, hey, listen, you pick your game up and I'll pay you a little bit more. It's literally, that's worked before, and I've it's been as simple as that. And it's been like, hey, I need you to do this and this. I need you to be on time. I need you to show more effort. I need you to clean better. I need you to get your health department certification. And if you do all those things, you know, consistently over the next month, you're gonna get a raise. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then there are other people that you know that just need a little encouragement. And there are other people that need a little fear. And it's like, hey, listen, you know, I can't give you full time, or I can't give you the shifts that you want or need if this continues. So it's really just about being open and honest with people and saying, you know, you can be a 2-day, you know, a week kind of guy, but I think you have the potential to be, you know, giving them that, hey, I think you have it. And giving them some incentive to do more and to do better, whether it's, you know, and sometimes it's just like, hey, you know, and we just have like events out and we do little, you know, dinners out and things like that. It's like, hey,
you do?
Like, yeah.
So, okay, this is good. This is interesting. You got someone. How do you know whether there's someone who needs a raise or they just need to go bowling with Evan? How do you sense it? What do you look for to know where that motivation is going to come from? As a leader, I want to know, if I'm looking at my team members, are there indicators? Are there things that you've seen repeated that will help me go, this is the kind of person that they trying to get some money. Let's give them some money.
I mean, a lot of times people ask for more shifts. Like, hey, I can use a couple more shifts if you've got any, you know, or you know, you can kind of put the puzzle pieces together. Again, everyone wants more money. I mean, there's no question that's a good thing, you know, to offer people, and you should take care of people who are working hard, and you should reward people. Who are pulling extra weight and who are really doing their job well. You know, that's definitely a positive sense. It's not the only way to motivate people. You know, like I said, sometimes it's literally just a pat on the back and, hey, thanks for a great job, and getting them a slice of pizza or you know, or whatever, you know, that they like Red Bull and you buy them a Red Bull. You know, or whatever it is that they like, you know, you find out what they like. Hey, what are you into? What do you like? And you get them a little something, a $25 gift certificate to their favorite restaurant or something like that. It's this little, hey, I noticed you picked it up this week. You know, you did a little extra this week. After we spoke, you improved. Like, hey, go grab a burger on me. You know, like it's a little thing, but it goes a long way, actually.
You know, one of the quotes that has guided my decision-making process is from W. Clement Stone, which is, little hinges swing big doors.
Yeah.
And you touched upon something that literally, like, it resonated with me so much. You're going to say, this person really likes Red Bull or pizza. So to thank them, so you've shown that you as a leader care.
Absolutely.
Because you've vested interest in learning about what they like.
Absolutely.
And you reward them with what is something that they like. And it may be completely outside of crepes and juice, pizza, Red Bull. Like that may not be it. But if that's their trigger point, you want to be like, hey, great job. Here's a cold Red Bull. Thank you. And that person can be like, wow, he listened when we had that conversation when I was talking about my Red Bull, you know, dependent. Don't drink too many Red Bulls.
Yeah, no, I don't endorse Red Bull. I think it's actually a terrible beverage.
It's, you know, just
full of caffeine and sugar. Side note.
Drink green juice instead. But if for that person, that's their love.
Yeah.
You support, but the key, and I think this is so overlooked because it's almost so simple, but you're taking time through casual conversation that the person may not even realize. It's not like an interview, right? It's not like fill out this form. What are the 5 things you like? It's like, hey, what kind of bands do you like? What are the foods you enjoy? And you're making a mental note so that you can use this as a way of not only rewarding, but as a leader showing you care. And that is the type of person you're going to bust your butt for.
Absolutely.
If I know you as my leader has listened to me and is going out of your way to care about me.
That's right.
I'm going to bust my butt for you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to bust my butt. You know?
And actually, it comes back around. I'll give you a quick little example. Yeah. I was really stressed out last Thursday. Just a lot of crazy stuff going on. I won't get into detail about it, but I was just really, really stressed out. And the next day, my manager actually bought me as like a stress-reducing candle. And it was just like, wow, that's awesome. You know, like it's just, that's really, it's a little thing, you know, but it means a lot to me. And
did you cry?
I didn't cry, but inside, you know, it's like, wow, like I have a really great team of people, and you know, that's why I get up every day, and I'm excited to go to work, and I continue to be motivated to want to grow the business and create more opportunities for the people that are working for me and that believe in me and that trust me. I want to be able to give as much back to them as possible.
And I think that is it's an amazingly powerful takeaway, and I want to just revisit it again because I have experienced that in so many different ways, whether it was on the receiving end or the giving end, that if somebody remembers something that you say somewhat, whether it's in passing or whether it's whatever, like, oh, I really love so-and-so music artist, and it's like, here's so-and-so CD, that's the story that person might tell about you behind your back.
Right.
So they're talking about how awesome of a leader they have. They'd be like, you know what, this one time, Evan, man, he got me this really awesome fill in the blank of thing that I enjoy. He cares. And you can't fake that. You know, it's now we know how to use it. We know how to use caring. So you go out of your way to focus on what does someone enjoy? What makes this person feel whole or tick or whatever it is. And then that's a reward. That's a thank you. Hey, you do this, I'll appreciate it. And then you say, you did it. Here's a little thing. And now that person has something to talk about behind your back to their friends. They're probably going to go home and tell their boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other about this cool thing that happened. It's going to stay in their memory. And when they need you to work an extra 5 hours or, you know, go overtime or do it, they're going to be like, this person would ride or die for me. I'm going to ride or die for them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Love it, man. So let's do this. We're coming to the final few minutes of our interview time here. I want to ask you some lightning round questions.
Oh.
I'm going to just kind of fire some stuff at you. Okay. And I want you to just answer it however you think is best, okay?
I do like meditating on my answers, but I'll do my best.
All right, I'm going to let you meditate, but I'm going to need you to go. All right.
Quick answers.
What is a quote that has served you the most in your leadership role?
I'm going to come back to that one. Give me another one. I'll get back to that one.
I'm going to keep machine gunning it. All right, we're going to keep going. What is one thing you wish you could tell your younger self right before your younger self was going to start the business that you did not know about what it takes to be successful as a leader in your business that has meant a lot to you? If you could go back in time,
only one thing.
if it was more than one, feel free to let it fly. But at least one, or if there's like two, like, oh no, there's two things that were really good. But if you were going back to younger Evan and saying, Evan, you're about to open up your Brooklyn Juice and Crepe first or second location, or you're about to go into Wang's and it's a completely different business model. Here's what I want you to know from my experience today. What might that be?
Just trust your instinct with people. Again, it's really about just trusting people, being able to trust people. I think in the very beginning, I wasn't able to trust people, and maybe it was bad experiences and things like that. But in order to be a business owner, like you have to be able to trust people, and that's why you have to hire good people and have good people around you.
If you could isolate one of the best decisions you made in your leadership role, what's something that you say, I'm so glad that this happened the way that it happened, or I did this thing, or something of that nature? What might something like that be in your experience?
I would say, again, one thing is really you put me on the spot here, but promoting the people that I've promoted, the managers that I've promoted, I think I've made really good decisions with the leadership that I've promoted, and those people really do so much of the work, and I'm so just so happy to see the way that they've developed, and the fact that they've taken that opportunity and just ran with it. And I'm really, really happy with those decisions that I've made. And yeah.
Okay. Silliest thing you've ever done on the job, ever?
Silliest thing?
Silliest, like you just did something crazy silly
I've ever done on the job?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The first time, it was very early on, this guy told me that garlic juice was really good.
Okay.
So I juiced like 40 pieces of garlic, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna he said, yeah, it's a really good cleanser. And he was a Jamaican guy, actually.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, it's a great cleanser. You drink it, it'll clear you out. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. And I was working this is when I was by myself, by the way.
Yeah.
So there was no other employees.
Uh-huh.
I juiced all this ginger. I took like a shot of pure ginger juice.
Ginger or garlic?
No. A garlic.
Sorry,
garlic. And I drank this garlic juice, and within like 6 seconds, I was vomiting. I had like customers coming in the store, and I was like, you should never drink pure garlic juice.
Okay, I will never juice 40 cloves of garlic. And,
one is okay.
What?
40 is just not good for your system.
Good. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the quote. Can you give me a quote? I'll give you some time to think about it. I want to know a thought, a philosophy, a phrase that serves you in a very positive way in your leadership role.
Wow.
Go from the gut.
It's to say a quote is really tricky. I would say even what my mom probably told me. When I was actually about to give up at one point in the business. I was really discouraged. I wasn't making any money at all, and I was just working like a dog 16 hours a day. And she just told me, that she loved me either way, that she's going to support me in either decision that I made. And that just gave me the confidence to keep going. And I'm very lucky to have an amazing supportive family, that if I did fail, I wasn't going to end up on the streets. So it gave me that determination to keep going, even though I wasn't immediately succeeding, just because I had that family.
I am so glad I forced that out of you. I'm so glad, because it's a very powerful idea of the right person at the right time, the right, in this parent, let's say leader, right? It's a matriarch of your family, saying to you, no matter what, I believe in you and I love you. Sometimes we just need to know that we're not, like, if I fail, I won't be shunned. And I think a lot of times I have that fear myself. Like, if I don't do well, am I going to make my family dishonored or something like that?
Absolutely.
And to know that there's that unconditional love. I think that's something that we can apply in our personal and professional lives, where we can say, I have faith in you, and whatever you do,
right, and failure is okay. I think
okay.
I think failure is one thing we didn't really mention on this podcast, but I did have a failing business in between there, and we won't get into it. I know we're at the end here,
yeah.
But that I didn't just stop there and say, you know what, listen, that business failed. I'm never gonna do a business again.
Right.
Like that's part of the learning experience. It's part of the growing experience. And failure is part of life. You're going to fail at some point in certain things.
Yeah.
And it's how you deal with that and how you get up. And a lot of that is the people around you as well that you've built around you that give you that strength and that power to keep going and moving in a positive direction.
Wow, beautiful, man. So if I'm ever visiting Brooklyn and I want some of the best crepes or some of the best juice or smoothies or some amazing Asian inspired Southern cooking, tell people how they can find you online. Tell people how they can come to your physical location if they're in town and get some of this great.
Sure. Well, Brooklyn Crepe is we have two locations. The original location is 274 Flatbush Avenue, right between 7th and 6th Avenue on Flatbush. If you're coming off of the Manhattan Bridge, you just come about 5-minute drive from Manhattan.
And you're also near the
Barclays Center. It's
Barclays Center.
Yeah, 3 blocks from the Barclays Center.
Nets!
Go Brooklyn Nets!
Nets!
Go Brooklyn Nets! Next year, we're doing it.
Next year.
And and on 5th Avenue, we're at 169 5th Avenue between Lincoln and Berkeley. It's a quick walk from the other location. And Wang's is at 671 Union Street, right by 4th Avenue and Union Street. Oh, they're all in the Park Slope area. So if you're in the area, come by and enjoy our
experience
our
the culture. And if I want to catch you online, is there a website or?
Yeah, we're at brooklynCrepe.com and wangsbk.com is going to be launching, I think, in the next week or two. So
okay, so we go to brooklynCrepe.com and wangsbk.com, and we can find you online. Thank you so much. This was just insightful to learn about how your story unfolded, to hear your personal philosophies and also your strategies of how to take what was a passion of yours and turn it into a very thriving and successful ran organization. So kudos to you. Thank you for being part of the podcast. Thank you all for listening to our very first interview. I want your feedback, people. I'm curious. I love this. I could have talked to Evan for another 17 hours, but you probably got stuff you need to do. We might do a part 2 if you guys email me and ask for, specific questions or you want them back. I'd love to have them. But I'd like to know your feedback. Let me know. Do you like the interview format? I'm doing this for you. I want you to have great experiences. So do you like the interview format? Do you want me to do more interviews? Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. If you're a rogue listener, join the party, baby. We put out fresh, hotly served from the oven podcast on a weekly basis. Sometimes we do more than one because I'm feeling generous. All right, but definitely make sure you subscribe. If you've gotten any value from what we're talking about, please go ahead, put 5 stars on that iTunes or whatever you're listening to station platform. Give me a 5-star and a review. That allows more people to know that this is not your run-of-the-mill experience, that this is something truly special that's helping you grow your likability, to grow your business success, to grow your personal success, to build your relationships. And if you don't want better relationships and more success, you are listening to the wrong podcast. Aurel